وصحبه ومن والاه. Dear respected brothers and sisters, we are continuing this very important course, but with a very distinguished lecture which I know beforehand from my experience with the speaker. The speaker, Dr. Abdullah al-Melhi, will be talking to you about da'wah. And when I speak about Dr. Abdullah, I speak about a founder of this course. When I went through my old papers, I came to the year 1420, and I found that Dr. Abdullah al-Melhi, our lecturer today, has given a lecture, I would say, 13 years ago. It doesn't mean that he's old, not very old, but I want to convey a message to you that you are today enjoying the experience of a person who really, the founder of this course long time ago, 13 years ago, he was really giving us his experience, whether he gained outside the kingdom or within the kingdom. So on your behalf, brothers and sisters, I pray to Allah to reward Dr. Abdullah for every single, not minute, but second that he will spend with us today. He told me beforehand that there will be a lot of motivation throughout this presentation, so I encourage you to listen very carefully, and then there will be question and answer session. So I again thank Dr. Abdullah, and may Allah bless him and bless his time and his effort. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I begin, the segment or the clip that you are watching right now is on YouTube. So it's a tiny reflection of the greatness of the Creator, our Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's available on the YouTube, and I think most of you have received it or have seen it before. So this is just while we're introducing the topic. And there is another one that I'm suggesting. I suggest to Dr. Abdullah that we will take a short break, and during that short break we will play another segment. And I chose that one despite the fact that there is a background music which is not that loud, and at the beginning and especially at the end, it sounds like clicking of a watch or a clock. So I asked Dr. Abdullah, and he said, well, it's okay. The reason that I chose that one is, actually two reasons. One is that, there is an English translation along with that one. There is a voice speaking in English, so we would be able to follow up. And secondly, there is a statement that was said at the end of this clip. And actually it is a confession. So it's going to be played, inshallah, if we could keep it, because we have no internet here. So I tried to upload it, and I hope that we will not lose it, inshallah. I suggest that an empty blank of paper. I was thinking of preparing one, but unfortunately, I got a virus in my computer and I had to restore many things. So I didn't do that. But if there is just a blank paper to be given to everyone, males and females, just to write comments and suggestions, comments about the lecture, and suggestions later on that I could work on it later on, inshallah. Because this is a personal effort, and we're not complete. There are a lot of, usually there is a room for improvement. I will just turn this one off, and we'll go back to it later. So we'll go to our presentation. But before doing so, I want to thank Dr. Abdullah for the nice introduction and the compliment that he said about me, which I don't really deserve. The real founder is Dr. Abdullah. May Allah reward him. Actually, when I see the effort of Dr. Abdullah, I feel sorry for myself for not doing as little, not as much as Dr. Abdullah what she is doing, but just as a little of what he is doing. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. In the name of Allah, most merciful, most gracious, I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of this universe, the creator of mankind, and the creator of everything, the heaven and the earth and things between them. And I bear witness that Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his messenger and his prophet. May the blessing of Allah be upon him and his family, his companions, his followers till the day of judgment. May Allah make us along with it. Ameen. Today's lecture, it's about the methodology of da'wah, how to make da'wah. And when I searched and tried to, go back to all presentations, I found that the topic is so huge. It cannot be comprised, it cannot be, done in one session. But I did my best in order to, talk about the essentials and core things and the main key issues about da'wah. And to start with, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ مِنْ رَسُولٍ إِلَّا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنَا فَاعْبُدُونِ. All prophets before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and including Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the message is the same. One message: worship Allah alone and do not associate anyone with Him. And we did not send any messenger before you, but we inspired him, saying, La ilaha illa ana. None has the right to be worshipped but I. So worship you. This is from Surah Al-Anbiya, ayah or verse 25. So this is the core of the message, which is the main key. The monotheism, saying there is no God worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In fact, one of the shortest, surahs is Surah Al-Ikhlas, which was revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. So we have to know what is the main issue, what is the main message, which was the main message for every prophet before Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the message of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the message of the Sahaba, the message of those who follow the path of Sahaba, including, inshallah, us. I know that this is a course, training course in Da'wah. The message is that there is no God, no ilah worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the self-sufficient master. This is the surah. He is Allah, the one, the self-sufficient master. He begets not, nor he was begotten, and there is none co-equal or comparable unto him. Anyone might say Allah and say, I believe in Allah. But the problem is that even the Quraysh people said this word. We know this. They said we know that there is a God, that there is Allah. But the problem is that they disbelieved in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or they associated idols, they associated people, just to get them, this is in their own saying, to get them closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if anyone says, oh, this is an easy thing. I believe in Allah. But what is the belief? Is it a firm belief? Is it a firm belief in His oneness? And also a firm belief that He is the only deserver, the one who deserves to be worshipped? Or the other way around, we believe in Allah, but as the Christians said, well, this is Jesus, and the Trinity and the God and the Son and so forth. They're just mixing, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I played the first segment and at the beginning. I don't know if our sisters in the back were able to see it, and inshallah they were able to see it, because we're going to play another segment which reflects a tiny picture of this huge universe that was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Muslims, we believe that it has been created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's assume, as they assumed, the kuffar assumed that there was a partner or partners with Him. What's going to happen? We have experiences from our daily lives that when there are partners, at a certain point, even if the partners, if they were brothers, there would be dispute later on, after some time. So, if we assumed, may Allah forbid, that there were gods along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the God of the sun would say, well, this is mine, I'll keep it, I will run it my way. And the others will do the same. And this is going to create a huge mess on the universe, including our planet, the Earth. So, anyone might say, Allah, I believe that there is God, a supreme being, but they have made that supreme being like His creation, associating someone with Him, idols, for example. The Kaaba was surrounded with idols to be worshipped. So they worship Allah, but they worship these idols to get them as a connection, as a liaison to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas there is no need to have liaisons, to have any connections between you and our God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just only one God. Or they attribute, some of Allah attributes were personified and turned into creature forms. And the uniqueness of Allah is destroyed. When you give some of these attributes that belongs to Allah, Al-Alim, Al-Khabir, Al-Malik, Al-Quddus, to be attributed to someone else, then we are personifying these attributes and we are turning them into creation forms. Or making someone as a liaison, as I said, between them and Allah. And that's why we need da'wah, or more accurately, obliged to make da'wah. Some people think that da'wah is an option, which is, if we live in a society like the Sahaba in Medina, then the da'wah was not needed at that time. After the period of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was not needed. The Sahaba were actually adhering to the rules of Islam. But in a society like even here, some people mistakenly think that da'wah, when we think about da'wah, we think about non-Muslims, which is actually true, but we need to be reminded from time to time to get back and to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so straight. Just imagine yourself driving on a highway and just, you felt hungry or tired and you want to get off the road and to take a nap or to eat, and then from one point to another searching for food or a place to rest until you get further and further. What's going to happen? You are far away from the main road, and you needed someone, or you need someone to get you back to this main road. And you would ask how. And this is why we need, even our community, we need from time to time to be reminded. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَى تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. People need to be reminded why they were created. This is the main purpose, why we were created. We get into our lives so deep that we forget about the main reason of our creation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not say, just stay in the mosque and worship me. No. There are times that you need to go out, you need to work, you need to sustain and bring food and feed your family. Okay? But doing this in our daily life, especially in our days, there is a lot of distractions that we need from time to time to be reminded. The descendants of Adam were told to believe in Allah. Actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and make them witness, the descendants of Adam, that He is their Lord. Alastu bi rabbikum? Qalu bala. Then later on, what had happened, they deviated. They were, they went astray from the main path. So we were created, this is the main reason, we were created for His ibadah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونِ مَا أُرِيدُ مِنْهُم مِّن رِزْقٍ وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَن يُطْعِمُونِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ الرَّزَّاقُ ذُو الْقُوَّةِ الْمَتِينُ. And I have neither created the jinn nor the humankind, except that they worship me. I seek not from them any provision, nor do I ask that they feed me. Verily Allah is the all-provider, the owner of power, the most strong. We need constantly to be reminded of this, main purpose. Worship is divided into two sections. An obligatory one, prayers, fasting, zakah, and so forth. And practices that are linked to our daily life. And a real and a good Muslim links his or her, all of his or her daily life activities to that purpose. When someone travels abroad, seeking knowledge, seeking help, and his intention is that he is seeking this knowledge and help just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help, to help progressing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the da'wah, or to contribute to the society of the Muslims, to contribute to the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the life of the Muslim. قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Everything that surrounds the Muslim life is connected, interrelated to this main purpose, which is worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything that you do, have the good intention, have it connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say my prayers, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are for Allah, the Lord of the Alameen, mankind, and also jinn. And in order to clarify that the reality of worship that Allah obligated upon His slaves, Allah did not leave us like this. Allah sent messengers. He sent messengers and revealed books that people come to know what is mandatory upon them in regards to their Rabb, their Ilah, their God. It wasn't left haphazardly. People were guided. And if we go back from Adam and Noah to the Prophet, peace be upon him, to the Sahaba, our life was guided accurately if we just keep and adhere to the rules and the scriptures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to know that their happiness and sorrow is interrelated with worship. And worshipping again, Allah, and Allah alone. To devote every action to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In its absence or in its presence or absence, the effect of these worships could be positive or negative, depending on our acts and intention. So when doing good and having this good intention, we will be happy. Just imagine yourself making a Fajr prayer making sadaqah, doing your obligatory zakah, doing the fasting, what do you feel afterwards? What do we feel? Great happiness. Because this is our soul. Physicians tell us to eat well and to have good nutrition to sustain our bodies. But the soul is so secret to us. We don't know what is good for it except from the teaching of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who knows how to cure this soul. And that's why when you find a Muslim, a sick person, and this sick person is a strong believer, you would find him happy. You would find him thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Now we have the story of Prophet Ayub. And I'm sure that everyone knows this story. And the sickness and the disease and the trial that he was put into. Yet, he was so happy. He was so happy, and he kept waiting, and he was patient because he was so happy. He knows that the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are so great. So if he has been tested, then it is good for him. We know from the hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that Amr al-Muslim kulluhu khair. And asabatu sarra shakar, when he is, when he receives or when he gets anything pleasant and he thanks Allah, what is going to happen? كان خيرا له وأن أصابته ضراء صبر. Be patient, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards him as well. And this is only for a Muslim, a true Muslim. So this worship reflects positively or negatively on our daily activities. The life of, let's take an example about the life of the Meccan people before the advent of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were so rich in terms of merchandise. They were so talented in doing merchandise. They were merchants, most of them. Rihlat al-Shita was safe. Yet you would find them deep in their life. When you examine their lives, you would find them so distorted. You would find them unhappy, to the point that they used to kill their daughters, their own daughters, because of the fear that they might bring shame on them. A Muslim would not do that. A real Muslim would not do that. So you would find them, worshipping idols, and those who worship idols. You examine the life of anyone. I'm sure that you have experiences. I was in the United States. I met so many people, aimless people. They don't worship. They do atheists. And you would find them trying to find happiness in their lives, and they fail. Even if they succeeded in, getting this short happiness, especially when they are drunk, you would find them the next day so sad and desperate. So the life of the Meccans went, they were doing business, and not only doing business, they were gaining a lot of money, but also they wanted to make more money. And that's why they were using riba. And as I said, they went further to burying their daughters alive. So Prophet Muhammad was sent, and as the last messenger and the best of them, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was sent by Allah to the people and their the whole people, addressing them, and his saying, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ. And the nas applies to anyone, not the people of the Arabian Peninsula at that time, not only to the people of this world at this time, but the whole people, the jinn and the ins. Was there a need for this call, this message? Definitely, yes. As we said, it was an urgent need because their life, the Quraysh life and the life of the Arabian Peninsula in general, was going the wrong way. People went astray. And that's why we, from time to time, we need this kind of input, we need this kind of reminder into our lives. The main reason is that they have been misled from the right path. This is the main reason. The shaitan caused them to have idols, to worship idols, to go astray, to seek happiness in this materialistic world, and so forth. And we know that this is a promise that has been made and clearly made when the shaitan was kicked out from paradise. Please let me know if you feel bored and you want some kind of interaction. It might be boring, lecturing is I know, I teach and I know, so I don't want someone to fall asleep. At least if you fall asleep, just write a note and say, okay, this is, I didn't like this point, or this is the reason that caused me to fall asleep. Please. Okay. So the promise of Iblis, we know it. قَالَ فَبِعِزَّتِكَ لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ إِلَّا عِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. He made this promise, and he was sure of this promise. Except this exception. So Iblis said, by your might, then I will surely mislead them all. Except your chosen slaves among us, then we know the true believers of Islamic monotheism. Knowing this, we know that shaitan will keep a constant effort to mislead people, including the Muslims. And that's why Rasulullah used to say, and he's the Prophet, Ya muqallib al-qulub wal absar thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep him firm on this deen. Messengers and prophets were sent to get people back to Allah, to their innateness. More than 300 messengers and 124,000 prophets. I'm not sure about the figure, but this is what I found. Were sent. And what was their message? وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا قَبْلَكَ مِنْ رَسُولٍ إِلَّا نُوحِيَ إِلَيْهِ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنَا فَاعْبُدُونِ. And that's the main message that we should convey. Some people would say, well, what should I start with? This is the main reason. The main message, the key issue is to get people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Why do we need da'wah? Because people may forget the main purpose of their creation, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to worship Him alone. Any nation that diverts, that gets astray from the path of Allah has forgotten the purpose of its creation and needs to be taken back to that path. And that's why we need you. That's why we need the effort of everyone. One might say, well, I am a person. What can I do? Yeah, you can do a lot. Because, and we will come back to it, Rasulullah said, بَلِّغْ عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةٍ, convey just even one single ayah about me. Because that ayah might lead to more ayahs and might lead to search and thinking about this Islam. So the nation who gets astray needs to be reminded of the oneness of Allah and the purpose of the creation. It needs to be reminded of the Sharia. Some people would say, well, I'm calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But do we call according to the Sunnah, according to the Quran? So we ask people and we try to invite people and call people to believe and to come to Islam, but to the true Islam. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, and to follow the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not to follow any, traditions, values, or the religion of some sects. No. The Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to get them back to Allah, to the Sharia of Allah. It also needs any nation that gets astray, or anyone. That applies to nations and individuals as well, community as well. It needs to be reminded of Sharia, it needs to be reminded of the hereafter. We tend to forget about it, including myself. Wallahi, sometimes I think that this life will go on and on and on. When I pray, when there's a janazah in the masjid, the last thing that might occur to my mind that I might be next. So we need this kind and constant reminder that there is a hereafter. And the hereafter, we know it's in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's a secret. But once a person dies, this is his moment. This is actually his day of judgment. Goes to the grave, and from that time he's either in happiness or la samahallah and otherwise. If da'wah gets out of these main principles, it's not da'wah anymore. I will give you an example. Someone would say, well, I'm from this tribe, and this tribe used to practice this way. Like, the Quraysh at that time, they didn't want the da'wah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because they wanted to continue in the path of their parents and grandparents. So, if we invite people and according to our desires, according to our beliefs, we might not be guiding them. Actually, we might be misleading them. So it has to be according to the Sharia, it has to be according to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Spreading the word of Islam is not an option, as I said, it is an obligation that every one of us has to carry. We got to know that it is a crime. In fact, it is a major crime if we hide something. If we hide something that we know, we know the rest of the ayah. Verily those who hide what we have revealed are spreading, verily those who hide what we have revealed will be cursed by Allah and by cursors about other people. As I said, da'wah is not calling non-Muslim only. Our intention and our aim is to call non-Muslims, but it's also, we have to start from within. You would find some people who is a great da'iyah, but forgetting about his own family, so we have to start from within ourselves. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as we said, convey about me even one single verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, virtues of da'wah, we could just go quickly on that one, and we will take a break. I don't know about the time, but I believe we still have time, right? Okay, good. 10 minutes before 6. That's including the questions. Wow, okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have, there are virtues of da'wah. What is the main virtue of da'wah, of making da'wah? Anyone? Please, yes.
Patience.
Yeah, I know this is one of the characteristics, but I'm talking about the virtues of da'wah. Fadl. Da'wah. Ajr. Okay. Yes.
Allah will be you. Allah in ma'ayyat of Allah.
Yeah, but we will get great rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Perfect. We will be rewarded. And the reward is so great. But before doing that, we know this is actually the profession of the greatest, the noblest people of the earth, the Anbiya and the messengers, including Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. This is the best career, this is the best job better. And who is better in speech than he who says, my Lord is Allah, and then stands firm and advises to Allah's path and does righteous deeds and says, I am one of the Muslims. So no one is better than, and this is actually a great, job, a great career that we have to strive hard. The merits of this da'wah is so great. The callers are carrying the messages of all prophets, including Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What a great message! What a great job! Now, when there is a position somewhere, a vacant position somewhere, we strive hard, especially if this position is so high in status. I remember, when there is an election, just about 3-4 months ago, 5 months ago, the election of the municipality elections. Do you remember? Putting these posters, and this is, to be elected to be one of the representatives of, the council, of the municipality council. And yet people were doing and spending a lot of money. So we have to strive, because this is a great reward. And when we think about it, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wallahi لأن يهدي الله بك رجلا واحدا خيرا لك من إيش؟ حمر النعم." What is the equivalence of حمر النعم nowadays? Shabah. Land Cruisers, VXRs, and what is Lexus and so on. Not my car, by the way. I have an old car. Dr. Dawud, you know my old car, right? So, Hamr al-Ni'am. Why? When you think about it, the efforts and the deeds of someone who has been guided through you, even if this is just only the beginning, would be the equivalence of his deeds, good deeds, would be put on your scales. And that's why when Dr. Abdullah he talks about my effort in founding this, I feel that our efforts, especially my effort, is so tiny, worthless. So may Allah reward him and anyone yes. Yeah, that's so important. That the Prophet, peace be upon him, says, whoever makes his face so bright and shiny, the one who hears something, a message from me, and convey it. Why? Because someone who listened or heard this message might be better, might be more careful, might be so absorbed to that message than the one who said it. The reward of guiding someone, as we said, the deed would be added to his skill. And the effort of the community centers that we are seeing nowadays, to have new blood. We need new blood. Imagine yourself, coming to a new place. What is going to happen? Not Abha. If you live in Abha for years, you would probably pass by a lot of things not paying attention. But go to another place, a new place. What is going to happen? You want to discover, you want to see, you want to, take examples, you want to see more, you want people to go there. Why? This is a new place, so we need new blood. So anyone who comes to the religion actually contributes to the religion, and we have seen scholars who came from, not from the Arabian Peninsula. Bukhari, where is he from? Bukhara. Far away from the Arabian Peninsula. Al-Bukhari is not dead. He's dead, but he is alive in our lives. Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. So we need blood, new blood in our religion, and that's why we need to make da'wah and invite people. I've been listening, and I encourage you, and inshallah, if I could get the websites that I've seen, and I will just post it or send it to the brothers, so you could We have seen new Muslims. Wallah, I was listening. I think his name is Abdulrahim McCarthy. Anyone knows him? Anyone has seen him? McCarthy. Just listen to his Arabic. Listen to his knowledge. He came from American background. And actually, when he was asked how did you became your life, or how do you became a Muslim, he said, well, my previous life, had to end, had I continued that way, had to end either in being dead, being killed, or in prison. And you see his life has changed completely, and he is changing the lives of others. You're getting them back to the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I sometimes go to YouTube and see the viewers that accessed this segment of video or this lecture from Sheikh Abdulrahim McCarthy, or Bilal Phillips, or what is his name? It's Stephen. What is Cass Stephen, and also there's this funny and wonderful guy, Yusuf Estes. You just listen to that guy, funny guy. I want to do the same thing, but I fail many times. He comes to the lecture and he makes people laugh and grab their attention so successfully, to the point that you would watch him and listen to him for hours and hours and hours. You wouldn't get bored like what's happening now. Now let's ask. Okay, I will just get one or two of these segments here, and we'll stop and play the other clip. We will go to the characteristics of da'wah. We have to have knowledge. Very basic thing. We have to have knowledge. We have to know what we are calling for, and the people we are calling, these circumstances, and so forth. So we got to have knowledge, and knowledge about the deen. Some people would say, well, I don't have, I cannot be a scholar, but this is not the question. If you can be a scholar, if you can be a knowledgeable person, like the examples of Cass Stephen, Yusuf Estes, and others, I'm just, giving these names, and Abdulrahim McCarthy, then at least we have to know the principles. We have to guide people to know the main principles of da'wah, which is Shahadatul La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, the rest of the pillars. So we have to have the basic core knowledge, otherwise we'll be ignorant. And believe me, at one point of our time, we would face a situation that we regret. It happened to me when I was in the United States. I passed by a preacher, an Arab preacher from Lebanon, and he had a table. On this table there was a poster, and he quoted one verse, but not the whole verse from the Quran, just half of the verse, and he put it on the table. And the verse said, "Ya Ahl al-Kitab, lastum ala shay, hatta tuqimu at-Tawrata wal-Injil." So I passed by and I said, well, this is talking to you. This is addressing you, people. He said, no. It's not addressing us. Ya Ahl al-Kitab. And he started arguing with me, saying that I will give you a verse. وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكَ الْكِتَابِ. This is the Quran. And this is what I said. This verse is addressing Muslims. I know deep in my heart, and everyone knows that it has been addressed to the people of the scriptures, the Bible and the Torah. But he kind of twisted the fact, and I kept arguing, and I admit to you, I failed, because I didn't have that background. So we have to have some basic knowledge about Islam and to invite people to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we don't have the knowledge, we seek the knowledge. If we don't know, what should we do? I don't know. Give me some time, I will find a good answer. Don't try to bend, and we should, including me, I just remind myself, I'm not talking to a specific one of you. We don't have to twist and bend the Islam rules and rulings and teachings to fit others' lives. No. It should fit our religion, it should fit our life, and believe me, if we keep it this way, if we would be successful, there is, inshallah. Now, the other way is that some people would, okay, I don't have the knowledge, let me, or the ability to refute what has been said, or what has been, mentioned, and especially the misconceptions about Islam. And I know that there is a lecture by the Professor Abdullah Hadi about the misconceptions of Islam. We would be faced about these misconceptions, polygamy, and a lot of things, such as Aisha and the marriage of Prophet Muhammad to this young lady. And it's really hard to find to find ourselves in such situation. Okay. I will stop here. So it's a good time to stop. I might take longer. And I want you, if possible, just to watch this great clip on the YouTube, and I hope and pray that it is still there, because there is no internet, and I just uploaded this segment. I want you to watch it. As I said, I chose this one because of two reasons. One, it reflects the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It also, the translation, it was translated in English, so I want to memorize this one. Okay. And also I want you to watch, although there is a slight background music and it begins like ticking of a watch, but I want you to just to listen carefully to what's been said at the end, this conversion. And so this is kind of great for us before we start the other segment. If Dr. Abdullah has something to say, there might be a minute or two before I resume this lecture. If anyone has seen this one,
at the speed of light.
Okay, if anyone has seen this segment, this YouTube segment, and wants to leave for about, I think it is about 4 minutes and a half, and to come back, then feel free to do so. Okay, Bismillah.
Parting from our home star on a trip across the cosmos toward...
Okay, start from the beginning. Oh gosh. I lost it. La ilaha illallah. It's a great one. I lost it because we don't have an internet, but I will give you the, yes. What? No, because there is no internet here. This is the problem. Which one? Okay. Now this is about size. Okay, we lost the other one. Okay, that one, we've seen this one, but I will play it again. But that one talks about an imaginary trip from this universe using the, speed light. Do you know how much is the speed light? The light, the speed of the light? Yes? 100, I think, 60. No, the information that I have is 186,000 miles per second. Okay, passing in just in one day, passing the solar system. And then it took years, billions of years, to get they paused. They paused at a certain point. This emptiness, this hugeness of the space under creation, the outer space, is so vast and tremendous, to the point that it needed, the time that they reached is about 10 billion light years. 10 billion light years. Did anyone, or does anyone know how far is the sun from the earth? 39 million miles. The sun from the earth is 39 million years. And just keep imagining. So they stopped and they paused after 10 billion years, light years, with the speed of 186,000 miles per second. And they said, well, we will keep going and going, and we wouldn't get to the limits and the borders of this creation. They haven't reached the first heaven, by the way. They haven't reached the first heaven. We don't know what is beyond that. How far, how huge. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ. So people think, I think one time a man came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and was saying that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated the last one to enter paradise. Kept asking to be just getting closer and closer to the doors of Jannah, and then later on, let me get in, because this is our nature. This is our human nature. That man was given the size of the earth 10 times. 10 times. So in our imaginary, human, limited capacity, it's just this is the earth. Actually, before the satellites, and we think that there is an end to the earth. And some people would say, well, the farthest point is, Sham area, or the sea, which is the Red Sea, and so forth. The point that I want to make, and inshallah will just give you the website address for this one. It says at the end, the narrator said, this vast and huge, creation and empty space is way beyond our human understanding. He was about to say, reflects or tells us that there is a supreme being, a creator, and this creator has to be worshipped. So I apologize again for that segment. I promise you I will give you the address, inshallah. This one I'm sure that you have seen it, and I will just keep the voice off, because there is a loud music. It's just giving us a symbol, the size of this universe, and they did not get out of the outer space. No, just only our solar system. One of the last planets, they said it needs, I think, with a jet, we will see it, traveling at the speed of 900 kilometers per hour, would need about 11 years just to travel from one corner to another within our solar system. Okay, let's keep going and going. Okay, getting larger and larger. They haven't done, the picture, this imaginary picture from the, outer space. These huge planets. So the size of the Earth is nothing compared to this one. This star says diameter of about 2,008,800, and it needs like a jet flying at 900 kilometers, it would take 1,100 years just to travel across two destinations. Okay, I will get to this example, inshallah. Dr. Abdullah, do you have anything to say? Okay, let me go fast because I thought because from Asr to Maghrib I prepared a lot of things. So let me go back so fast on the characteristics of Da'iyah. And I will inshallah leave some time for discussions. We have to have sincerity and desire to help people go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the main characteristics. When we examine the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was so sincere in his da'wah, like other prophets. And he was at one point, then this is a trial. This is a trial for him. The Qurayshi, we know that the Qurayshi people approached him and said, well, talk to your, cousin, to your son, because he was the one who raised him. And we will give him anything. If he wants to be the wealthiest, we will make him the wealthiest person. If he wants to be our, king or, chief or ruler, we will give him that. If he needs a wife from our, the best, family, we will give him that. And what was his answer? Wallahi ya am, لو وضع الشمس في يميني والقمر في يساري على أن أترك هذا الأمر ما تركته حتى يظهر الله أو أهلك دونه. This is the sincerity. Oh my cousin, oh my uncle, Allah, if my people put and give me the sun to own it on my right hand and the moon on my left hand, just to let me, leave this da'wah, I will not do it until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, helps me to make it appears and succeed, or I die before it. It has to be, we have to be sincere in our da'wah. We don't have to be emotional or just, passing and giving, yes, okay, I'm making da'wah. Do you know that there is God, Allah? You have to worship Allah, and that's it. I conveyed the message. No, we have to be sincere, and we have to, we have to have the desire to make people believe. And that's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have two examples. When he approached his uncle and he said, "Qul ya am," when he was on the deathbed, "Qul ya am, kalimat la ilaha illallah. Qul la ilaha illallah, kalimatun ahaj." Say la ilaha illallah. Some people would say, "Well, he has the desire because he's the uncle." No. Let's examine another picture. When he visited the Jew and his son was on the deathbed, he asked him to bear witness that there is no God but Allah. And his father, knowing that it was the truth, because deep in their heart they know it was the true religion. He was calling for the true religion. This was the reply of his father. Okay, we'll just skip a lot of things. The story of the people of the village. You remember the people of the وَضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا أَصْحَابَ الْقَرْيَةِ إِذْ جَاءَهَا مُرْسَلُونَ إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ اثْنَيْنِ فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا. Set an example for them, the people of the village. Two messengers were sent to them, but they, did not believe them. So we sent the third one, and they still denied. They said, "Well, no, you're not coming. You're just human beings like us." A man came, a believer came running from far aside from the village, wanted to tell his people to follow the passengers. And he kept convincing them. And I think the story, correct me if I'm wrong, he was killed. He was killed because he believed. And they, people, especially Shaitan, gets people to be enemies of Islam, to be enemies of Allah, because he wants so many people along with him in the hellfire. And we know that during the hellfire, the day of judgment, may Allah protect us all and our families and all Muslims from the hellfire. He would make his famous ceremony. I had no power on you. I asked you to obey me and you obeyed me. So this person was killed, and when he entered paradise, what did he say? يا ليت قومي يعلمون. Oh, I wish that my people would know my faith and my destiny. Why? Because he wanted them, even though they called him. Okay, wisdom and beautiful preaching. This is very important. Very, very important. I remember, maybe Dr. Abdullah remembers that we had one of our professors. His name was what? No, not Salim Dawood. An Irish guy, I think. Okay. And do you know what he said to me? I hated Islam. Do you know why? This is what I said. I said, why? He said, you know, even students would approach me would enter into my office. Why don't you become a Muslim? You know, this is not the right way. We have to be wise how to invite people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine, just put yourself in his shoes, his upbringing. It's like, you know, when someone approaches you and says, well, why don't you become Christian? Well, what is your reaction? We have to be careful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and the story of Moses and Pharaoh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, despite the fact that Pharaoh claimed to be what? God. Ana rabbukum al-a'la, I'm your Lord. And what did Allah say when He sent Moses and his brother to him? فَقُولَ لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَّقِي وَيَخْشَى. So we have to have, you know, wisdom and to find the right approach, the right words to invite people to our deen. This is very, very important, very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, go both of you to Pharaoh. Verily he has transgressed all boundaries, disbelief, and speak to him mildly and gently. Perhaps he may accept admonition or fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make a proposition. People like to have choices. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you know, we usually, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا هَلْ أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى تِجَارَةٍ. Okay, tijara, because, you know, once we hear money, once we talk about business, what is going to happen? We will pay full attention. And this tijara is not money. Actually, it is تنجيكم من عذاب أليم تؤمنون بالله. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us. It's just, you know, if you examine, wallahi, you just examine the Quran and the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we will have plenty of examples. Okay, actually, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in many, many occasions, used this method to attract people and to give them a choice. Okay, who else used this method? Knowing the effectiveness of this method, who else? Anyone? Anyone? The devil, shaitan. Okay? فَوَسْوَسَ إِلَيْهِ الشَّيْطَانِ. When he entered, when Adam was in Jannah, you know, we know the story. I don't, you know, want to go into details. But, you know, he whispered into Adam's ears and he said, "Oh Adam, shall I lead you to the tree of eternity and to the kingdom that will never waste away?" وَسْوَسَ إِلَيْهِ الشَّيْطَانِ قال يا آدم هل أدلك على شجرة الخلد وملك لا يبلى. Even the shaitan knows the effectiveness. So we don't have to use, you know, orders and commands. Well, why don't we use other approaches and giving people choices and attracting their attention? Wisdom and beautiful preaching also, it goes with the rahmah. We have to be kind. We have to be soft-hearted, not to be harsh. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. And by the mercy of Allah, you dealt with them gently, and had you been severe and harsh-hearted, they would have broken away from you, about you. The story of the boy who came to the Prophet, peace be upon him. What did the boy say? Then this is, you know, the Sahaba were shocked, and you know, we know the reaction of some of the Sahaba. What did the Prophet say? أَتَرْضَاهُ لِأُمَّةِ أَتَرْضَاهُ لِأُخْتِكَ? Do you accept it for your mother? Do you accept it for your sister? Do you accept it for so and so and so? Making the people, the women, all women are his sisters, his mothers, and so on. This is wisdom. So we have to have that in mind. The story of Yusuf and the inmates. You know, we know all the story of the Yusuf alayhi salam and the inmates in the prison. You know, after setting the examples, and I forgot to say that, you know, we have to set a real example, and I'm sure it would become. You know, he didn't interpret their story, their dreams right away. What did he say? The timing is so important here. He said, well, يا صاحبي السجن أرباب متفرقون خير أم الله. Started to it because they came to him, they found him to be the righteous person, and they came to him for the interpretation of their dreams, and he seized the moment and with wisdom. Okay. I will skip that one because we have the story of the one who urinated in the mosque of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But anyway, know when to put limits for argumentative people. Some people, they don't seek knowledge. They don't want to be you know, led to the right path. They argue for the sake of argumentation. They want to argue. And we have a story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and the king. And this intuition, because we have to have wisdom, we have to know, anticipate what the people need. And that's why Ibrahim alayhi salam put limit. He said, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِي بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ. And he said, well, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ. قَالَ أَنَا أُحْيِي وَأُمِيتُ. Two people in the prison, sentenced to death. I forgive one, I kill the other. This is not actually the life, giving life. Giving life to something that is dead. Not something live and you kill them. But Abraham just skipped this one and he gave him something, challenged him. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَأْتِي بِالشَّمْسِ مِنَ الْمَشْرِقِ. Causes the sun to rise from the east. Bring it from the west if you're ilah. Be patient. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all prophets, they met obstacles and difficulties. Years and years. Noah alayhi salam, 900 years, 950 years. Okay, so we have to have patience. The path of da'wah is not as smooth as some people know it. And actually, because of the shaitan, because you are guiding people and the shaitan is striving hard along with his followers to misguide us, the path is not easy. I'm skipping so fast. So expect hardship and difficulties. Fruits of da'wah might come at a later stage. Or it might be picked by someone else, not necessarily you. You plant the seed, you put the effort, and the da'wah inshallah will be fruitful later on. Do your best and leave the rest for Allah. إِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Once we have the good intention that we want to guide people, we do our best and leave the rest for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Get to know your target, your audience. You know, some people, go to make da'wah without investigating, without searching, without knowing. It's like, when you give a speech. When you are asked to give a speech, the basic things, the basic elements of the speech is to find out some information about your audience. If you come to farmers, a group of farmers, and give them this, segment of YouTube, they wouldn't listen and wouldn't convince them. You have to find the background, to find out what is the background of that person, what is his cultural background, we have to have also priorities in our job. What is the main priority? What is second? What comes second? What comes fourth, and so forth. Okay. The story of Mu'adh when he was sent to Yemen. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "لَكَ سَتَأْتِي مُنَاسِبٌ لَهَا لَيْشْ الْكِتَابِ." You have to have, some basic information about it. Timing is important, as I said. You need to size the moment. You need, when the moment is, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't have time When he visited his uncle, they didn't have time. When he visited the Jew, the son of the Jew, he was dying. Okay, so we have to have timing and to size that moment of time. Sometimes, people will invite people to Islam while they are busy. To come to a person who is deeply involved in something, doing workshops and a lot of things, and okay, I want you to give me some time. Listen to me, I want to invite you to Islam. This is not the right approach. You find, why don't you invite him for a cup of coffee? Why do we make it formal? Why don't we make it informal? Invite someone to a cup of coffee, go outside, and just have a casual talk. The story of Yusuf Estes, if you just access the website and the story of his embracing Islam, it's so amazing that we would take lessons from that one. Avoids confrontation and getting into debates that would end into unwanted results. And sometimes, you don't have to get into debates, and especially some people will say, well, we'll have debates. What is the point? People will, side with their, will support someone who is from their families or so. Small effort might be fruitful. Don't, underestimate. We should not underestimate anything. I remember one story, I will be so fast. One story of one person. A man, I think, used to work in Aramco for a number of years, maybe 13 years, from the United States. He had no contact with Muslims, or he did not pay attention, he was so busy. Before leaving, he was invited to one of the houses, a Saudi family. And one of them thought about giving him a pamphlet about Islam, a small, tiny, brief introduction about Islam. At that time, it didn't, have any effect. He went back home, and one day he searched his belongings, and he found this book, and he read it, and he started searching about Islam, and he became a Muslim because of that person. And he sent him a letter thanking him for this, guidance, which is a small effort. So we should not underestimate. One suggestion is just to have a small card with the websites about Islam that would, okay, if you're busy, this is a card. Please, whenever you find time, you have time. There is a lot of misconception. I don't want you to become a Muslim if you don't want to. Just listen. This might be fruitful later on, and it might, a booklet, a card that contains Islamic websites and so forth. And I have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will help you. That any effort, any sincere effort would be, inshallah, supported by Allah. And our work would not be wasted. We should not get, desperate and give up after, inviting people. And especially if our intention is to invite people to the sake of Allah. We don't have, the guidance, as I said, is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If our intention is just to guide people, maybe after 50 or 60 people, approaching 50 or 60 people, we will give up, and so we will stop inviting people. But if our intention is to convey, spread the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, spread the Islam, then the hidayah, once we have this sincere, intention, then the hidayah is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, our Prophet gave us Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave us the best example where he kept spreading and reinforcing his message until the moment or before he died. What did he say? استوصوا بالنساء خيرا. Okay, and what else? لعن الله اليهود والنصارى. Why? Why? Can you just connect it to the purpose and the first pillar, the main key issue? Tawheed. اتخذوا قبور أنبيائهم مساجد. To the last moment, don't just worship me. I am just a messenger. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry for boring you. We'll probably have some time for questions and answers.
Yes, we do. Assalamu alaikum. On your behalf, I thank Dr. Abdullah. And now we have 4 minutes for question and answer. And I'll pass the loudspeaker to the ladies section if they have any comment, and also the brothers.
I need Akhwan before you leave, before anyone leaves, please, if there are any comments, suggestions, criticism, please. Please, please. I need it later on. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
First thing I want to say, about Islam, how to spread Islam. That's the right thing.
Yeah.
That's the right thing to know more thing about Islam. But I have an idea, many ideas in my mind. One of them, and I don't know, my right or wrong. Non-believers don't have problems in Islam. They have problems with Muslims. You know, when you live with Muslim people, they don't want to talk many lectures. They want to see. They want to practice. They want to be active. And like they say in America, actions speak louder than a voice.
Yeah.
So I don't know, am I right or wrong about this?
Yeah, the question was, you know, that people in the Western world, they don't have any problem with this, with Islam itself. They have problem with Muslims and the actions of Muslims, and this might be true to some extent. Some of them, believe me, they have great knowledge about Islam, and they just, you know, they don't want to believe in Islam. But you're right. In general, yes, you're right. Many Muslims actually turn you away from Islam. The action, actually, wallahi, even here, sometimes when you compare the actions of a person and see how, you know, he prays and so, because, you know, inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. But, you know, once we practice Islam and embed it and have action, you know, apply, then this is the best guidance. And I agree with you, because, you know, what causes Islam to spread in the far east, Indonesia and Malaysia and these places? What are its causes? Good morals and people, the actions of people, merchants coming, you know, they don't cheat. Actually, Yusuf Estes was, you know, influenced deeply by the action of the Egyptian partner, who refused. I advise you, and you know, I'm sure that most of you have done so. Who refused because they used to sell furnitures. So the Christian Yusuf Estes at that time, I don't know what was his name, wanted to get all the stuff and then you know, bad stuff in the front so people would buy them. But the Egyptian partner said no, bring the new ones here, because we were told not to cheat. In Islam, our Islam teaches us not to cheat, which is completely shaken the Yusuf Estes and said, well, we're not going to sell anything by doing this. But later on, he believed in it. He says, well, okay, this is the rizq is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is Islam. Jazakallah khair. Yes, this is a good point. Anyone else from the ladies section? Then my lecture must be boring for you. If there is no question or no comments. Anyone from here? Okay. Jazakallah khair. Please try to give me some feedback. I will either you write it down, or I will give my email to the brothers here, and just give me this feedback. I need it. Jazakallah khair. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
So brother, as usual, please allow our sisters to depart first, and then we'll follow. So sisters, please.
والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، بل كما بدأت في هذه الدورة أقول أيها الدعاة وأيها الداعيات، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. وما أصعب، يقولون في علم النفس ما أصعب أن يبدأ الإنسان بالاعتذار، ولكن أجد نفسي في هذه الأمسية ملزم بأن أعتذر لكم نيابة عن الدكتور محمد عبدالله الزايد الذي طرأ له ظرف في مدينة الرياض، فيعتذر منكم عن إلقاء هذه المحاضرة المهمة والتي تصب في صلب هذه الدورة، ألا وهي مصطلحات وتعابير دينية ولم نقل إسلامية. فأنتم دعاء وتقابلون النصراني، تقابلون البوذي، الهندوكي، بل والملحد. فأرى أن من ضمن واجبات انطلاقا من أهداف هذه الدورة أن نقدم لكم أمرين: الأول استراتيجيات الدعوة، وثانيا أدوات الدعوة. Dear respected brothers and sisters, or I should say, dear respected preachers, brothers and sisters, who are preaching Islam, propagating Islam, and this is the cause and the essence of this course. In psychology, they say it is difficult to start your speech with apologies, but I find myself obliged to start by apologizing to every one of you, brothers and sisters, on behalf of Professor Muhammad Abdullah Al-Zaid, who had to leave to Riyadh for certain emergencies. He couldn't be with us this evening, but it was also a short notice. We came to know this last night. So please excuse the presentation because it was done at Rash, and our consolation that Dr. Abdullah Al-Melhi, Abu Khalid, he promised that he will do his best to upload the presentation or the show that he couldn't manage to show you, and he will try to present it to us if he can. At the meantime, this lecture, like other lectures, they are important, but this lecture in particular, which was destined to be delivered by Dr. Abdullah Muhammad Al-Zaid, is a very important one and crucial one in the sense that it talks about expressions and terms, religious terms. We didn't say Islamic terms or Islamic expressions, but we say religious terms and expressions. It is crucial because they represent one part of our objective in this course. In this course, as it has been announced to you by me in the beginning, that we will concentrate, or we are concentrating, we have been concentrating in two aspects. One, strategies of da'wah. How to present Islam to a Christian, an atheist, a Buddhist, a Hindus, and so on. The second aspect is tools. We should provide and open doors for tools to help you to present Islam. This lecture comes in the second, or aligned with the second aspect, that is tools to help you to make da'wah. It is your right upon me that I should tell you what to expect. It was a short notice. I just came to know last night of this emergency leave of Dr. Muhammad Al-Zaid. So please excuse the presentation. We did our best. I know that these terms and expressions will be short, but our compensation or our, kind of excuses that we'll do our best to put these terms that appear before you in action. In other words, I chose to present certain terms and expressions, then to put them in action, in the sense that you will hear these terms used by Christians and Muslims in two tubes, two presentations. So the first stage of this presentation will be to go through certain important terms and expressions, religious terms and expressions. Then, in order to make sure that you see these terms, if we have silence from the ladies section, please. Please, we want silence from the ladies section. The second thing is you will see these terms used in a certain presentation that will be presented to you. Then I will leave some time for Dr. Abdullah Al-Melhi, if he can manage to show us the presentation or the YouTube that he tried to show to us. Of course, when it comes to religious terms and expressions, it is an endless job. And, it is so vast that you can never cover it in one session. But I thought that if I give you just mere expressions and terms in isolation, it will be soon forgotten. But if I give you these terms and expressions, and then you will hear these terms and expressions used in actual, not simulated, actual debate between a person by the name of Richard who tried to preach Christianity and a Muslim caller, maybe these terms and expressions will be long remembered. Before I proceed, just allow me to talk about the dictionary. يا أخ فرحان قاموس معجم المصطلحات الدينية. I should be the last one to talk about this dictionary for a reason maybe that you know. But after I devoted this dictionary upon the spirit of my father, may Allah make paradise his abode, I feel very free and with no reservation to talk about this important piece of work. Let me tell you that it took 6 years to finish this work. It is 2 dictionaries in 1 dictionary. Arabic English from this side, the right side, and English Arabic from the left side. It is not only a dictionary, but also it includes expressions and certain sentences that cannot be used for, we couldn't find an equivalent English to it. So we had to put 3 appendices to cover those expressions, تعابير دينية, religious expressions. So I really advise from my heart every brother and sister who has not got this dictionary yet to hasten and get this dictionary. And I will tell you one of the experience that we had with this dictionary. I remember one of my students, he got this dictionary, and then he told me, Dr. Abdullah, I used to take 5 words only, 5 terms per day. And within 3 months only, I managed now to convey the message of Islam to English speakers. I was sad before, I started this dictionary. When I go to the library, I found a dictionary of diplomatic terms, dictionary of engineering terms, dictionary of medical terms, which is no problem, that's good. But where is the dictionary of religious terms? And alhamdulillah, with the help of Allah, we managed to finish it. And alhamdulillah, this is the 3rd edition, and we are about to start the 4th edition of this dictionary. There is a CD and a cassette that comes with it in order to help you to pronounce, to listen to the pronunciation of these religious terms. So I advise you, and anyone who is involved in the da'wah work, as he should, that Dr. Abdullah and Melhi told us, it is a must upon all of us to gain this. And remember, when you purchase the dictionary, you have gained 2 benefits. One, you have helped da'wah work, because all this 18 riyals or 20 riyals that you pay for this dictionary and the cassette or the CD goes to da'wah. Through these 20 riyal, we convey and we send books to 175 different countries, even small islands in the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean. Number 2, you will gain a source of tools to make you, to convey the idea. The idea is in your head, yes. You know Islam, you are a Muslim, yes. But you want to convey this message to a truth seekers, whom if you don't call, they will be in hellfire. You have to save human souls, but you need the tools. And humbly speaking, this dictionary will help you to do so. Now, allow me to proceed with these terms. As I told you, please concentrate with me that now we will see these terms in isolation, but after a while, when I finish, and there are very few, you will see them or you will hear these words in action. Exemplified in 2 presentations, 2 YouTubes. One is a person, his name is Richard, he's an American, and he has a channel, and he is a chat, kind of chat, and he calls people to be Christians. So he met by a caller, he's a Muslim, and he started bombarding him with questions, very embarrassing questions. So you will come to the conclusion that some of those priests or some of those evangelists, munassirun, evangelists, those who are doing missionary work, amal tansir, they don't know what they're talking about. And you don't have to be very intelligent to discover this from this, I think it is 3 minutes presentation, you notice that these questions addressed to this Richard by the caller, who is a Muslim, he just give a silly question, a silly answers to these questions. But it give you a strategy as a da'i, how to tackle, how to refute, and how to ask those who pretend to spread Christianity. The second and final presentation that you will see YouTube is amazing story. And this reminds me of what Dr. Abdullah al-Melhi just mentioned. That's don't belittle anything. Dr. Abdullah al-Melhi said that don't belittle anything that you do. You will notice that this person who will be, you will see him in the second YouTube, that he was a priest. He was a British priest. He went to Italy, to the Vatican, to learn about Christianity. Then he came back, and then through a very young Egyptian, shoe polishers, a person who polished shoes, this man, this priest was saved from hellfire, and he embraced Islam. Through whom? Through this young Egyptian lad. And what was his profession, this lad? He was polishing shoes. So this reminds me of what our brother Abdullah al-Melhi said, that do da'wah and don't belittle anything that you do. Who knows? Imagine a small young child, with one word, he saved this former priest from hellfire. And he embraced Islam, and you will notice this. Now, allow me to proceed, because inshallah we will be waiting, and we are longing really to, alhamdulillah, to see the presentation by Dr. Abdullah al-Melhi that he managed to do before Maghrib, but inshallah now he managed to show us this very important, relevant presentation. Jesus, as you know very well, who can, this very well, but you will see them here. But what's the meaning of Jesus in Arabic? Does it mean Al-Masih? What's the meaning of Al-Masih? Christ, yes. And there you see, Jesus Christ, Isa al-Masih. Holy Spirit and Holy Ghost. Can anyone, the brothers, tell me what's the difference? There is a difference between Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost? Anyone? Yes? Any other answer? Do you agree? Yes? Ruh al-Qudus. Ruh al-Qudus, yeah. So some Christians, they use Holy Spirit, others they use Holy Ghost. And they are talking about what? One out of what? Three. What are these three? And in the later section, what are the Trinity? Consists of what? Trinity consists of what?
The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
That's right. God the Father, as they say, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. They call it in Arabic al-aqanim al-thalatha. And I don't know what kind of mathematics that is. They say 1 plus 1 plus 1 equal 1. They say equal 1. I don't know what kind of mathematics. You ask any young, we had a youngster here with us. If you say 1 plus 1 plus 1, he will say 3. Those priests, they say no, 3. I remember when I was in the United States, I used to address this question to priests, and they say, we are sorry, we cannot, we have to accept it as it is. It is wrong mathematically speaking, but we have to accept it. The Father is, the first of this Trinity. Trinity, they call it, at-tathlith, mabda at-tathlith. Bible scholars, very well, Bible. Can anyone give me the adjective of the Bible? If I want to say in Arabic, Injili, yes? Biblical, yes, alhamdulillah. So we have experts here. Trinity, as you know, it is very important. If you to call a Christian, you have to know what is the meaning of Trinity. Trinity is the belief by Christians that there are three gods, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The cross, the cross very well, and that is why, you will notice that the caller, he will comment in this cross, but I will not tell you, you just wait and see the thing. Jews is a plural of what? Jew. So who is a Jew? A male or female?
Male.
No, if I say he's a Jew, am I addressing a male or female? A male, yes. So there is a special term for female. Can anyone tell me? Jewish, yes. Who said Jewish? Thank you, Lord. Yes, Jewish. If you are addressing a female, it is called Jewish. If If he's a male, you say a Jew. Sins and sins is the thing that you do against heaven has two meanings. Can anyone tell me what's the two meanings? It can carry two meanings. Yes, brother. Yes. Jazakallah khair. Yes, it means two things. Al-Jannah and the seven heavens. As-sama. Now Exodus is very important. In the Bible. Exodus. Can anyone comment? What's the meaning of Exodus? Yes, brother. Yes, Hijrah, exactly. So when you say Exodus in relation to the Bible, anyone? Exodus in relation to the Bible, it is one of Sifrs. It's one Sifr al-Hijrah. Sifr is part of the Bible. The Torah, it consists of 5 main Sifr, chapters, and one of them is Exodus. They talk about al-Hijrah, as my brother rightly said. And now allow me just to move to the second list, and then we'll proceed with the presentation.
Can we say is it the prophet or certain Christian?
No, when you say Exodus, anyway, the thing that comes to your mind is you are giving a quotation from the Bible. Exodus 20:40, for example. This is a reference to the Bible, Exodus. But if you are talking about in a very ordinary way, you say immigration. But Exodus has a kind of biblical feeling, you see. Now I would like any volunteer to read the next term for me. Okay, anyone please? The first one. Yes, from the lady section? Disciples. Okay, any objection? Do you agree with this translation? Disciples. Who said disciples? Yes, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Fayyad. It is disciples. Disciples. What is meant by disciples? Al-Hawariyun. Yes, Al-Hawariyun. The followers of Jesus, or they talk about 12 persons. Luke, John, Matthew, and Peter. Does it mean anything to you, brother? These foreign names. Yes. Does it ring a bell? Yes. Yes, please.
I think John is
authors of the Bibles. Yes. John is yes, I agree with you. Let's finish with the terminology. Luke is Luca, John is Yahya, Matthew is Matta, Peter is Butros. This is in Arabic. But those 4 people, they are the people who wrote the Bible. So, was it Jesus, peace upon him, who wrote the Bible? Even the Christians, they say, no, those are the 4 writers of the Bible. Sinners, we had, the verb sin, and these are the sinners. You will hear it in this presentation. What's the difference between God and Lord? Anyone? In Arabic, yes? Exactly, yes. God is Allah, Lord is Rabb. The Lord is a little bit, elastic. You could be the Lord of your family. But when you see God, that is specific. Even Lord is Rabb, but sometimes you say landlord. If you go to live a family, the person who is running the family call him landlord. The landlord. So it has a little bit. But in Arabic, it is Rabb and Ilah. So that's it. Jazakumullah khair. Yes, who said it? Abu Talib. When he said, Ana Rabbul Ibil. I am the Lord or owner or responsible for my camels. Walil Bayt Rabbun Yahmi. Verses is, you can talk about it from the Quranic point of view or from the biblical point of view. Ascend and ascension. Does it ring any bell in your mind? Ascend? What's your comment about ascend? We Muslims believe that, yes, Jazakumullah khair. And also the ascension of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Revelation, what is the verb of revelation? The verb? Reveal. Can anyone spell it for me? Thank you. I was waiting for V-E-A. So it is from reveal and revelation and wahi. Prophet and messenger. Is there a difference between prophet and messenger? Anyone? Yes, from the lady section. What's the difference between prophet and messenger? Anyone? Yes? Yes. Yes. This is the meaning in Arabic, but what's the difference? The line. Yes. The first part of your answer, yes, is correct, but maybe the brother, he has a religious answer.
Messenger is sent to call people to
Exactly, yes.
The prophet is knowledgeable man, but
Yes.
he is not sent to be a messenger.
So every prophet, every messenger is a prophet, but not every prophet is a messenger. So as it has been said, thank you very much, a messenger is a person who had a mission by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to a certain nation, but in the case of Prophet Muhammad, his mission worldwide, to all nations. But still he is a prophet. And not every prophet is a messenger. Now we come to intention from intent, and this is it's very important in Islam. It is a niyyah. Now we'll proceed to the last and second part, then we'll listen. Who can complete this term for me? In the name of Allah, I want to say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Anyone? New pages, new faces? New faces? Okay, Fadal.
The most gracious, the most merciful.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Yes. Any other variation? You read? Yes? Yes? Some people say in the name of Allah, the medicine, the patient. Parish, what does it mean? Is it an Islamic term? Is it? Is it an Islamic term? Parish? There's no. Yes. Thank you very much. Your answer is it is a Christian. It is an Aspiration, a part of the church. To hear Mass, do we have Mass in Islam? Is it a Christian or an Islamic term? Anyone? The late section? A Christian, yes. Mass, Al-Quddas, Al-Quddas, that is a collection, certain grouping, they gather in the church and they perform certain rituals. So they say, to hear Mass, to listen to certain words said or, from the Bible, and they call it Al-Quddas in Arabic. Anointed. Anyone? Anointed. The medical term of it, the medical meaning of it is just to rub something with ointment. Yes? But it has a religious meaning. They believe, yes, please. No, that is baptism. Baptism. Anyone in that section? He was anointed. Exactly, yes. From Masih, from Masaha. It has a religious, air of feeling. But in the medical field, it is different. Bishop. Yes, it is a rank, in Christianity. They have what? They have a lot of. They have the archbishop. So if you go through this chronological hierarchy, you have the pope, you have the archbishop, you have the bishop, you have the priest, you have the deacon, and so on. They call it the shammas, and so on. So there are certain ranks in the church chronology. Priest, priest. Qassis, yes, Qassis. Baptized. Now we come to baptized.
Baptism.
Yes, what does it mean?
From baptism.
Yes, Brother Muhammad, from baptism, which means what?
Ta'meed.
Ta'meed, yes. What do they do when a person is, they will say, John something, he was baptized in so-and-so church. What does it mean to you? From a Christian point of view. Yes, exactly. They believe in what is called a holy water, and they immerse the child in this, what they call holy water, and they say he was baptized. When they give his chronology or his biography, they say he was baptized in so-and-so church. So it's a certain of rituals, طقوس Nasraniya, to immerse the person in what they say holy water. And as my brother Muhammad said, yes, it means ta'meed in Arabic, which is related to these certain rituals. To hear confession, I'm sorry for the H, to hear confession. Can anyone relate it to the church? Yes, please. Confession. Yes?
Going to the priest.
Exactly, going to the priest.
And to tell him about yourself.
Exactly, yes. You see, so when the Christians, they have what is called confession window. شباك الاعتراف. They believe that if a person had committed a sin, he will go to the priest through a window, and they call it a confession. So you tell the priest that you did so and so and so, and the priest comfortable say, go, you are forgiven. Do we have such thing in Islam? Of course not. So we should thank Allah that we are Muslim. How can you go to convince to a person that maybe he is doing the thing that this visitor is doing? And there are so many stories, that you know better than me. Jimmy Swaggart is not far from you. Yes? And what? I haven't heard the second word.
Kneel down. Kneel down. Kneel down.
Any comment from the section? Kneel down, yes? To prostrate. But I don't know, I think to kneel down is just to prostrate, but we're talking about confession. It is a kind of Christian rituals where, especially with the Catholics, that when someone make a sin, he go or she goes to the priest to take a confession and to seek forgiveness. Now, I will not read 28. I would like one of the brothers to read it for me. Yes, please. Okay. Any objection for the pronunciation?
Yeah, which one?
Number 28. How would you pronounce it?
Almighty.
Thank you. It is Almighty. Don't be misled by the A. It is not Almighty. Yes, it is A-L, but it was not pronounced as if it is O. Almighty. It came from what?
Al-Qadir.
Al-Qadir, but in English, from might. What's the meaning of might? Power, yes. Ability, power. And there is a saying, can anyone remind me? Yes?
Might is right.
Might is right. Do you believe in that, Muhammad? No. Is it an Islamic? No, it's not. Might is right is a Western, saying that, well, if you have the force, if you have the power, you do whatever you like. We didn't have such thing in Islam. If you have, the truth, that's it. But might is right is not an Islamic belief. Saint Thomas, this word saint, I would like to comment from the sisters. Saint. Do we have saints in Islam? Of course not. So can anyone comment in this word, saint? Yes. Do they have saint? If you go to Italy, the Vatican, you have Saint Peter, Saint Luke. It is kind of belief in defines it in Catholicism more than in Protestantism, in the sense that they gave kind of divinity, uluhiyya, certain feeling to a certain individual, and they say he is saint, Qaddis. Especially, you don't find it a lot with Protestants, but with Catholics, there is this use of saints, Saint Thomas, Saint Peter, and so on. There is even this in the Vatican. What's the name of this cathedral? Can you tell me? In the Vatican, the name of the cathedral there? The Cathedral of Saint Peter. So it is kind of title, given kind of divinity to individual people. They think that they have certain of divinity. We don't have such thing. Church is the Christian, Christian building. But the Jews, do we call their worship church? Yes? Temples for Hindus and Buddhists, but for Jews, anyone? Yes?
Synagogue?
Synagogue. Thank you very much, brother. Synagogue. So, if you're talking about Christians, they are talking about church, and if you're talking about Jews, they are talking about synagogue. Is there a difference between church and cathedral? Anyone? The difference between church and cathedral? Yes, the Catholic use cathedral, and it is a bigger place, For example, the biggest cathedral were in the Vatican. The second one, can anyone tell me the second biggest cathedral in the world? You will be surprised when I tell you. Yes? No. It was, yes, before, but now there is the biggest second cathedral in the world. What? Yes, in Africa, thank you. In Ivory Coast. You see, what does this send a message to you? That the missionary work is working day and night. The second biggest cathedral in the world is in Africa. What does it imply? That the missionary work is going on, you see, in Africa. It is in the Ivory Coast. And I saw a picture of it. It is the second one. sermon. What does it mean in Arabic, sermon? خطبة, موعظة. Yes, sermon, خطبة or موعظة. Preacher. Yes, داعية, preacher, from the verb preach, to preach. To preach, واعظ, yes, واعظ, to Islamic preacher. And this we conclude with these few terminologies, and then we'll just go ahead with we have Christianity, Judaism. Can anyone tell me Judaism, what is the root? It came from what? Judah. What is Judah? A land, yes?
The name of
A place.
Yes, no, the name of the God of the Judaism. They call it Judah.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a place in Palestine, Judah, a place. But when they talk about, what is God in Hebrew? Can anyone remind me? In Hebrew, the term for God, Ilahum. What? Yahweh, yes, exactly, Yahweh, and sometimes they pronounce it Aloha. And then upon him be peace. You will hear this former priest from Islam who say, upon him be peace. Can we have a different expression? The same thing but with a different word? Yes?
Peace be upon him.
Thank you. Peace be upon him. Does it mean exactly alayhi salatu wassalam? No. Thank you. Who said no? Yes, I agree with you. No. So what does it mean? Translate it literally. Alayhi salam, yes. But if I want to say alayhi salatu wassalam, anyone? Yes, blessing and peace be upon him. You have to add blessing. You have to add blessing. To pray, very well. To pray, ablution. Anyone? Ablution? Yes, wudu. Do we have a verb of it? Can you say be abluted? No, you have to use something. A helping verb. Yes, to have ablution, to perform ablution, to make ablution. But you cannot use it as a verb. You have to use something. To fast the month of Ramadan for Allah's sake. Do you have another something similar to this for Allah's, starting with C? We have
Seek.
no. We have for Allah's sake. Fi sabilillah. We have another impression. For the sake of Allah, yes. But yes. I heard from the ladies section. Cause, yes, for Allah's cause, capital C. Fi sabilillah. Call to prayer, that is adhan.
Yes.
Now, I would like one to pronounce for me 41. Anyone? Angel, yes, angels. And I conclude with, I bear witness that. Who can complete it? I want to say that Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah, and Dr. Abdullah al-Melhi said it in his lecture. So let me hear it from you, brother.
I bear witness that there is nobody except the Lord, that Muhammad peace and blessings be upon him.
That's right, yes. Alhamdulillah. Now, I'm sorry, I will not take long. Now, I'll proceed with the presentation. Now, you will hear this word used in action. Now, in other words, you will hear this word in action. Okay, let's start with Richard.
What a nice caller. Nice guy. Hello there. This is Richard Burnish. You're live on the Jesus Chatline. How are you doing today?
Hi, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing excellent. Thank you. Did you have a question?
Yeah, actually, I have a few questions.
Certainly.
My first question is Jesus God or the Son of God?
Jesus is God's Son.
So he's not God?
He is not God. No, he is not.
And the Holy Spirit, is he God?
The Holy Spirit is God, yes.
So there's two gods.
There is one God. There is only one God, actually. And that is God, the Holy Spirit.
So the Father isn't God?
Yes.
So the Father isn't God and the Son isn't God?
Yes.
And the Holy Spirit is God?
Yes. You understand it, yes.
So who's the Father?
God.
You just said he isn't God.
He is God.
No, you just said the Father wasn't God, the Son wasn't God, the Holy Spirit was God.
No, I did not. No, he is God. Yes, he is. Yeah.
Richard, listen, I'm sort of a Bible scholar, if you will. Okay? And
yes.
you can't play games with me. You are not making any sense right now.
Well, that is a matter of opinion. I feel I'm making a lot of sense, sir.
Look, how can you ask somebody to become a Christian if, you can't even tell me who God is?
God is God. He's in the Bible. He's God.
No, look, Christians tell me God is one, but at the same time He's three.
God. I'm not sure I fully understand your question. You sound kind of confused.
Yeah, I am confused, Richard. I really am confused.
Okay,
look,
I'm here to help. That's why I'm here.
Okay, look, we have the Father, we have the Son, and we got the Holy Ghost, right?
The Holy Trinity, yes.
The Trinity. Now, this all-star team here, the three, do they equal one, or does one equal three?
They all equal one. That the Trinity is the group of three. One group of three.
Okay, look. When Jesus died on the cross, right?
Yes, he did.
Now, when he died, who was running the show?
Well, God has always been running the show since the beginning. It's always been God running the show.
But a bunch of Jews killed God on the cross, according to you.
A bunch of Jews. That's okay.
So basically, Richard, a bunch of Jews are stronger than your God.
I don't agree with that. That nowhere in the Bible does it say that.
Well, you guys, Christians like to preach how Jesus was hung and brutally murdered and tortured on a cross by a bunch of big-nosed Jews.
He died for your sins.
He died for my sins.
Yes, he did.
Did he die for those Jews' sins that killed him?
Yes, he did.
So those Jews that killed him essentially are going to heaven.
Those Jews are, yes.
Oh, so everybody's going to heaven?
No, they're not.
But I thought Jesus died for my sins.
He did, yes, he did. But if you live your life according to his teachings, you will also go to heaven.
But does Jesus love everybody?
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't?
No.
Wow, that's actually pretty brave of you to say that.
Yeah, it really, and just think of how lucky you are to have the Bible to as a map, as your North Star.
Well, actually, I'm not lucky to read the Bible. If we actually look, do you have a Bible handy with you, Richard?
No, I do not have a Bible on me.
Well, let me refresh your memory. If we look in Exodus 21:15, it says, "Whoever strikes his father or mother shall be put to death."
Yes.
Does that sound fantastic to you, John? Richard?
That does sound great to me, yes it does.
So if I hit my mom,
yes,
I should be put to death.
If that's what it says in the Bible, then yes. You have the
Wait. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Your mind is full of questions and a lot of confused thoughts, it appears. But if that, basically, yes, if that is in the Bible, that is how it is.
Okay, let's talk about the Bible. Let's talk about the Bible.
Great, I would love to. I would love to talk about the Bible.
Now, Jesus didn't write the Bible.
No, Jesus did not write the Bible. No, he did not.
Who wrote the Bible?
His disciples wrote the Bible.
Wrong. Paul, Luke, Peter, and the other guy, I can't remember his name. What was it?
That is not correct. That is incorrect information.
So who's Paul, Luke, Peter, and the other guy?
I believe you may be referring to the musical group, Peter, Paul, and Mary.
No, I'm referring to John, Peter, Michael, and the other fourth guy. I can't remember all the names.
Jean-Pierre.
Richard, I'm being serious here. We got Mike, Peter.
Yes.
The four guys, come on.
I don't
Okay.
I don't agree with you. I don't know what you
We have
want to
John, we have Luke, we have Peter, and we have
Matthew?
Matthew. Okay. Let's take these four guys. Did they write their Bibles?
Yes, they did.
Now, who were they?
They were Jesus' disciples.
No, they were not. They never seen Jesus before in their lives.
They traveled around with Jesus.
Wrong. They were hundreds of years after Jesus.
Well, not according to the Bible, no.
Well, according to the Bible, you know what? I have another point to bring up. You know, points are just coming in my brain. It's just, wow, this is amazing.
That's great. That's really great.
Now, you say Jesus is God, right?
Jesus is, yes.
Well, how come Jesus in the Bible, when they called him good, he said, do not call me good. Nobody's good except God.
Yes, that's correct.
So he very distinctively made a distinction between him and God, right or wrong?
Yeah, he did. You're absolutely right. He did. Go ahead, Colin. I think we lost the call.
Good evening, caller.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was cut off earlier. I was debating Richard.
Oh, is that right? Were you cut off or what?
I don't know.
I think you were given plenty of time to speak, sir. I think perhaps he just wanted to move on to give someone else a chance, but I apologize.
We'll go to the next and final one. So what will we do now?
Skip.
Skip.
Second.
In the name of Allah, most gracious, most compassionate.